The flash of my camera popped like a gunshot in the humid Georgia air, freezing the moment forever. Him, mid-laugh, hoisting his best friend onto his broad shoulders as confetti rained down like New Year's Eve regrets. But then his eyes, those piercing hazel eyes, locked onto mine across the sea of caps and gowns, and the world tilted, my tripod wobbling like my suddenly unsteady knees. "Hey, Shutterbug," he called out, voice cutting through the cheers like a quarterback's Hail Mary. "You gonna make me look like a hero, or what? I wasn't supposed to feel this. Not here, not now, on the sprawling green of Emory University's quad, where the class of 2025 was spilling out into adulthood like overfilled champagne flutes. My name's Alex Rivera, 28, freelance photographer with a beat-up Nikon that had seen more heartbreaks than high school dances. I'd hustled this gig through a college buddy, snapped the seniors, the families, the awkward hugs, and pocket the check for rent in my cramped Atlanta loft. Easy money, zero drama. Until Jake Harlan. He was the golden boy of Emory's lacrosse team, MVP of the national championship run last spring, the kind of guy who made headlines without trying. 6'3", built like he was carved from red clay and southern sunshine, with that easy grin that could disarm a linebacker or a room full of boosters. I'd seen his face plastered on banners around campus all week. Harlan, leading with heart, but seeing him up close, that was different, electric. The way his gown draped over his frame, hinting at the muscles beneath from years of dodging checks and burying balls in the net. And me? Just the guy with the lens, invisible until he needed a memory captured. The ceremony had wrapped an hour ago, diplomas clutched like lifelines, and now it was pure chaos. Parents in pastel sundresses snapping selfies, undergrads chugging from hidden flasks, the brass band blaring pomp and circumstance on loop. I weaved through it all, adjusting apertures, barking directions. Smile bigger? Tilt your head. My black polo shirt sticking to my back in the May heat. Atlanta's spring was no joke. It wrapped around you like a lover who wouldn't let go. Then came the sports team's big moment. Lacrosse guys first, clustering like wolves after a kill, jerseys peeking from under their robes. Jake was at the center, of course, his hair still tousled from the wind, a streak of face paint smudged under one eye from some pre-grad ritual. He spotted me again as I framed the shot, his team piling on, roaring like they'd just won state. Click, click, but he broke away, jogging over with that loose, athletic stride, like gravity was optional. "You missed the best part," he said. Close enough that I caught the faint scent of cedar cologne mixed with fresh-cut grass. His voice had that drawl, pure Savannah roots, but clipped with city polish from 4 years in the ATL. I lowered the camera, heart doing a weird flip. "What? The part where you all look like you just robbed a bank." He laughed, deep and genuine, clapping a hand on my shoulder, firm, warm, sending a jolt straight to my toes. "Nah, man. The huddle. Coach's last words. Play like it's your last quarter. Love like it's overtime." Corny as hell, but it stuck. His eyes searched mine, like he was gauging if I got it. I did. More than he knew. We talked for 5 minutes, okay 10, while I pretended to fiddle with my settings. He asked about my shots, the best ones I'd caught. I asked about the game-winning goal against Duke, how it felt to bury it in double overtime. Turns out, he remembered my name from the program notes. I'd shot the team portraits last fall. "Small world," he said. "Smaller than I thought." By the time his parents dragged him away for photos, his dad a burly ex-Marine with a mustache like a broom, his mom all pearls and proud tears, I had his number. "Text me the proofs," he grinned. "But only if you promise to come to the team barbecue tomorrow. We need someone to document our inevitable beer pong domination." I nodded, playing it cool, but inside, chaos. Me at a jock party? I'd come out in high school back in Miami, dated a few guys in art school, baristas with tattoos and poets who ghosted, but this felt different. Dangerous. Jake Harlan wasn't just any guy. He was the straight-A athlete with the All-American poster child vibe. Rumors swirled in the tabloids. Girlfriends from sororities, post-game hookups. But those eyes, they lingered. That night, back in my loft off Ponce de Leon, I scrolled through the raw files. There he was, in pixels, laughing, fierce, alive. I cropped one tight on his face, that smudged paint like war markings, and felt a pull in my chest. What the hell was I doing? This was a job. Paycheck. But as I hit send on the first batch of proofs, adding a casual barbecue tomorrow? Count me in. I knew I'd already crossed a line. The barbecue was at Jake's off-campus house in Inman Park, a Victorian fixer-upper his lacrosse buddies had turned into a shrine to NCAA glory. Signed jerseys on the walls, a mini fridge stocked with IPAs, the backyard strung with fairy lights that flickered like fireflies against the dusk. I showed up with my camera, excuse to hover, and a six-pack of craft brews, feeling like the token civilian in a sea of shoulder pads and backwards caps. Jake greeted me at the gate, apron tied over his swim trunks, flipping burgers like he'd been born with tongs in hand. "Rivera, you made it. Grab a plate, these are legendary." His smile was brighter than the coals, and he slung an arm around my neck in a half-hug that lingered a beat too long. Brotherly? Maybe. But my pulse didn't think so. The night blurred into stories. Epic fails on the field, road trips to Syracuse where the bus broke down in a blizzard, the time Jake carried his injured goalie 3 miles to the ER after a brutal check. He was the glue, the one who mediated fights, picked up tabs, remembered birthdays. Sportsmanship ain't just not trash-talking, he said over a second beer, feet kicked up on the porch rail. It's showing up when it counts, even if you're benched. I nodded, sipping slower than I should. Around us, the party thrummed, girls in bikinis lounging by the kiddie pool, guys shotgunning cans to cheers. But Jake kept pulling me into conversations, introducing me as the guy who makes us look good. By midnight, we were alone on the swing. The others passed out or paired off, fireflies dancing in the humid air. "Tell me something real," he said suddenly, voice low. "Not the camera stuff. You." I hesitated, the beer loosening my guard. "Grew up dodging hurricanes in Little Havana. Dad split when I was 10, Mom worked doubles at the diner. Photography? It was my escape. Freezing time so nothing slips away." He turned, knee brushing mine. "Slips away. Yeah. Lacrosse ends next year, pro tryouts, maybe coaching. But what then? The roar fades." His eyes were distant, vulnerable in the moonlight. I wanted to reach out, bridge that gap. Instead, I joked, "You'll be selling car insurance, yelling at refs on Sundays." He chuckled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "Maybe. Or maybe I'll figure out how to keep the heart in it." Then softer, "Thanks for coming, Alex. Feels good having someone see past the jersey." We sat there until the crickets drowned out the snores, my heart sketching portraits in the dark. I didn't know it yet, but that swing was the first thread unraveling everything I thought I knew about straight lines and safe distances. The text started innocently enough. "Saw your shot in the yearbook mock-up? Nailed it," followed by a fist bump emoji. Then, "Coffee? My treat. Owe you for the barbecue save." By mid-June, Atlanta's heat wave had us hiding in air-conditioned spots. A hole-in-the-wall cafe in Midtown, where Jake demolished a black coffee like it was Gatorade, ranting about his summer league tryouts. "Coaches want machines, not men," he griped, flexing his fingers around the mug. "But I play with soul, you know? That extra gear when your team's down." I leaned on my elbows, chin in hand, capturing him not with film but memory. The way his brow furrowed, earnest as a kid reciting the pledge. "Soul's what got you the championship," I said. "Don't let 'em sand it down." He grinned, that lopsided one that crinkled his eyes. "Listen to you, philosopher behind the lens. What's your soul look like, Alex?" Dangerous question. I dodged with a laugh. "Messy. Full of filters and regrets." But inside, it was stirring. Waking up to his good morning memes, the late-night calls about nothing and everything. We'd hike Piedmont Park at dawn, him jogging laps while I shot the mist rolling off the lake, or crash dive-in movies at the Fox Theater, sharing popcorn like it was contraband. It was easy, too easy. Jake fit into my rhythm like he'd always been there. Belting Springsteen in my truck, debating the Falcons draft picks over tacos at Taqueria del Sol. He talked girls sometimes, exes from high school, a fling with a cheerleader, but it felt distant, like stories borrowed from teammates. And me? I kept my own history tucked. The boyfriend who'd bailed after my mom's cancer scare. The family back in Miami who loved me but whispered prayers for normalcy. One sticky July evening, after a brutal pickup game at the rec center, we ended up at my loft. He'd twisted his ankle, nothing major, just enough to swear in 3 languages, and I played nurse with ice packs and bad TV. "You're spoiling me," he teased, propped on my couch, feet in my lap as I elevated them. The room smelled of takeout Thai and his shampoo, clean and woodsy. "Someone's got to keep the MVP in one piece." I shot back, my thumbs absently tracing circles on his calf. Skin on skin. Electric. He didn't pull away. Instead, he sighed, head lolling back. "Alex, you ever feel like you're running a play you didn't call? Like the game's scripted, but your heart's calling audibles?" My breath caught. The TV droned some cop show, blue light flickering across his jaw. "All the time," I whispered. "Especially lately." His eyes met mine, heavy with unspoken weight. For a heartbeat, the air thickened, charged, like the moment before a storm breaks. Then his phone buzzed. A text from his agent, tryout schedule. He groaned, sitting up. "Duty calls. Rain check on the deep stuff." "Yeah," I managed, forcing a smile as he hobbled out. But alone, I paced, replaying that almost moment. Was it there? Or was I projecting, turning bromance into something more because loneliness had sharp edges? The conflict crept in slow, like kudzu over a fence. First, the invites, team outings where I'd tag along, feeling the side eyes from the guys who ribbed Jake about his hipster sidekick. Harlan's gone soft, hanging with the artsy crowd. One quipped, clapping my back too hard. Jake shut it down quick. "Jealous, 'cause he sees the world clearer than your beer goggles?" But the seed was planted. Then, his family dinner. Casual, he said, but it was a full Harlan spread. Ribs slow-cooked in the backyard, aunts gossiping over sweet tea. I met them on the sun porch of his parents' place in Decatur, a brick rancher with American flags snapping in the breeze. His dad grilled me on the pros. Ex-linebacker turned realtor. All backslaps and son this, son that. Mom fussed with plates, her Bible study smile warm but probing. "So, Alex, any special someone keeping you busy?" Jake choked on his corn, shooting me a panicked glance. "Nah, Mrs. Harlan, just the camera and the road." I lied smoothly, fork scraping china. Under the table, his knee nudged mine. Apology? Comfort? It lingered, a secret Morse code. Later, as fireflies sparked in the yard, Jake pulled me aside by the old oak. "Sorry about that. They're old school. Love 'em, but..." He trailed off, scuffing dirt with his sneaker. "It's fine," I said, though it twisted. "I'm used to the dance." He looked up, shadows playing on his face. "What if I don't want to dance anymore? What if?" Auntie's call cut him short. Pie time. We rejoined the laughter, but that what if hung between us. A ghost at the feast. August brought the tryouts, pro league scouts in Raleigh, Jake bunking with me the night before. Nerves had him wired. We stayed up till 3 a.m. on my balcony, city lights sprawling like a promise. "If I bomb," he said, nursing a whiskey neat, "I'm coaching high school. Back to basics. Teaching kids that winning's not the score. It's lifting your brother when he falls." I watched him, the vulnerability cracking his armor. "You'll kill it. But even if not, you've got heart for days." He set the glass down, hand brushing mine on the rail. "Coming from you means something." His thumb grazed my knuckles, deliberate, testing. My world narrowed to that touch, warm and rough from stick tape. "Jake!" Voices from below, neighbors heading home, snapped the spell. He pulled back, clearing his throat. "Gotta crash. Big day." He aced it, of course. Text at noon. Cleared the cuts. Beers on me. Followed by a flood. Dinner plans, weekend getaways. But the almost piled up, each one a brick in the wall we were building around the truth. Then came the betrayal's first whisper. A Friday night, post-celebration at a dive bar in East Atlanta Village. Jake was 3 whiskeys deep, arm around a sorority girl from his past, blonde, bubbly, the kind who fit the narrative. I nursed a soda water, camera forgotten in my bag, watching from the corner booth as she giggled at his jokes, her hand on his thigh. It hit like a check from behind. Blindside, breathless. Was this it? The reminder? I slipped out early. No goodbye. The humid night swallowing my steps. His text came at 2 a.m. Where'd you go? Missed you tonight. I stared at the screen, thumbs hovering. Had an early shoot. Congrats again. Liar. Talk to me. But I didn't. Not then. The heart skip from graduation had stuttered, caught on thorns I hadn't seen coming. Fall semester crept back like an uninvited ex. Emory's Oaks turning crimson as Jake dove into grad school. Sports management, naturally, and assistant coaching gigs. Our rhythm shifted. Fewer lazy mornings. More stolen hours between practices and my freelance hustles. But the bar night lingered. A bruise I poked at in quiet moments. He didn't bring her up, and I didn't ask. Instead, we buried it under layers of normalcy. Tailgates at Bobby Dodd Stadium, where he'd scream himself hoarse for the Yellow Jackets. Me snapping action shots from the sidelines. You're my good luck charm, he'd yell over the crowd, pulling me into a sweaty bear hug after a field goal. The guys hooted, but his grip tightened. A promise in the press. I believed it or wanted to. God, I wanted to. October brought the homecoming game against Georgia Tech's rivals. The air electric with bonfires and bass-thumping floats. Jake captained the alumni match, veterans versus current squad, and I had press access, perched in the booth with my long lens. He dominated. Dodges like poetry, feeds crisp as autumn air. But midway through the second quarter, disaster. A high stick caught him under the eye, blood blooming on his jersey like a rose. The whistle blew, medics swarmed. From my vantage, I saw him wave them off, staggering to his feet to tap gloves with his fallen opponent. A burly kid from Virginia who'd swung wild in the heat. No trash talk, no retaliation. Just respect, raw and real. The crowd hushed, then erupted as Jake helped the guy to the bench, sharing a nod that said, "We rise together." I captured it all. The wince, the wipe of blood on his sleeve, the unbreakable bond. Later, in the locker room haze of Benghazi and bravado, he found me by the water cooler. "How bad's the shiner?" I tilted his chin, thumb gentle on the swelling. "Heroic. Like you." His laugh was pained, but his hand covered mine. "Only 'cause you saw it." We drove to my place in silence, the radio humming Alan Jackson ballads. At a red light on Peachtree he turned. "About that night at the bar. Emily? Old habit. Baggage. Not. Jake, you don't owe." "I do." His voice cracked, street lamp casting shadows on his bruise. "It's complicated. Family, team, the whole Harlan legacy bullshit. But you're the unscripted part. The play I keep running back." My chest ached, words tumbling. "I've been out since 16. Fought for it. But with you, it's like holding lightning. Scary as hell." He nodded, slow. "Scarier than facing down a defense line." The light changed. He squeezed my hand before easing the truck forward. That night, we didn't cross lines. Just talked till dawn on my fire escape. Legs tangled in blankets against the chill. He confessed the pressure. Whispers from boosters about keeping it straight for endorsements. His dad's quiet hope for grandkids. "I love the game," he said, "but it's killing the man." And I spilled the fears. Mom's chemo bills still haunting my credit. The ex who called me too sensitive before vanishing. "Love's a gamble," I admitted. "But you're worth the ante." By sunrise, something shifted. A kiss? No, too soon, too fragile. But a pact. Honesty, no more dances. We sealed it with coffee from the corner bodega, watching the city wake. November deepened the colors, and us. Thanksgiving at his folks again. But this time, I held my own. Charming mom with Cuban sandwich stories. Bonding with dad over SEC highlights. Jake watched, proud. His foot hooking mine under the turkey-laden table. Subtle but seismic. Then the storm hit. Jake's agent landed him a spot at a pro combine in Florida. December, all expenses, the big league sniffing. It's the shot, he said over burgers at the varsity. Chili cheese dripping like our excitement. But Miami? Your turf. Come with. I froze, fries halfway to mouth. As what? Your photographer. As my +1. His eyes dared me. Screw the labels. Heart pounding, I agreed. Flights booked, hotel shared. Platonic on paper, electric in subtext. But en route, at Hartsfield-Jackson, Karma laughed. A delayed connection stranded us overnight in Charlotte. Hotel bar, 2 strangers in a booth, nursing flights of bourbon. Truth or dare? He slurred, game born of boredom and buzz. Truth. Ever kissed a guy and regretted it? My laugh was nervous. Regret? Nah. But wanting more? That's the killer. His turn. Dare. Kiss me. Time suspended. He leaned in, tentative, lips brushing mine. Soft, whiskey sweet. A question. I answered, hand in his hair, deepening it till the world blurred. Fireworks, but quiet ones. The kind that rewrite your stars. We broke apart, breathless. Worth the wait, he murmured. The combine was a whirlwind. Drills at dawn, scouts in polos scribbling notes, Jake shining like polished oak. I shot it all, official but stolen glances over water breaks, his wink after a perfect crank shot. Nights in the room. Talks turning tender, hands exploring boundaries with reverence. Not rush. Kisses evolved to embraces, bodies aligning like puzzle pieces. But we held the line. Love building slow, like a symphony's crescendo. Back in Atlanta, it bloomed. Christmas markets at Ponce City, his arm around my waist in the crowd. New Year's on my balcony, countdown kisses under fireworks. This is us, he whispered at midnight. No takebacks, but betrayal brews in the best times. Early January, a package arrived at my loft. Glossy invites to Jake's engagement party. No wait. Scrolling my feed, there it was. A team group chat leak, screenshot viral in lacrosse circles. Jake, arm around Emily at some holiday fundraiser. Her posting, rekindling old flames, red heart, Harlan heartthrob. My stomach dropped. Call after call went to voicemail. Texts, WTF, unread. I drove to his house, tires screeching on the frost-kissed drive. He answered in sweats, eyes bloodshot. Alex, it's not. Save it. I thrust my phone at him, the photo glaring. She looked cozy, his smile forced but damning. PR stunt, he pleaded, pulling me inside. Agent's idea, clean image for the draft. Told her it's fake. Swear. Then why the radio silence? Fear. His voice broke. Scouts asking questions. Dad dropping hints about settling down. I froze. Thought space would fix it. Space. I laughed bitterly. That's how you fix us? He grabbed my arms, desperate. I love you, Alex. This us is real. The rest? Smoke. But doubt had rooted thorny and deep. I wrenched free, storming into the night. His pleas echoing like a fumbled pass. The freeze-out lasted 2 weeks. Coldest of my life, Atlanta's rare ice storm mirroring the one in my veins. I buried in work. Weddings in Savannah, corporate headshots downtown. Each click a numb echo. Friends noticed. My barista ex, Marco, slid free lattes with worried brows. But I waved it off. Just the grind. Jake didn't quit. Bouquets of calla lilies at my door. He knew they were my mom's favorite. Voicemails raw with regret. Saw the heron in the park today. Remember our hike? Miss your laugh. I deleted them, but saved the flowers, wilting like my resolve. Mid-February, the call came, not from him but his mom. Alex, honey? Jake's, not himself. Come to the game, please. It was the alumni exhibition at Emory, charity for the rec center. I couldn't say no to her voice, cracked with maternal ache. The gym hummed with nostalgia. Banners from 25 championships, kids in mini jerseys cheering. Jake warmed up, all focus, but I saw the hollows under his eyes, the forced fist bumps. Halftime, he spotted me in the bleachers, face crumpling like a kid caught stealing bases. Postgame, his squad edged a win, He found me by the exit, towel around neck, sweat slicked. You came. For her. Not you. Lie, but it stung him anyway. He nodded, swallowing hard. Fair. But hear me out. One shot, like old times. We ended up at a Waffle House off campus. Neon buzzing like faulty wiring. Over scattered hash browns, he laid it bare. The agent's ultimatum. Ditch the distractions or kiss the contract goodbye. Distractions. Me. Emily was the shield, the alibi. I told him to shove it, Jake said, fork stabbing a patty. Quit the firm yesterday. Coaching full-time at the academy. Kids. Real heart. My guard cracked. And us. Us is the win I want. No scripts. He slid a folder across. Emails to scouts coming out in black and white. I'm done hiding. For you. With you. Tears pricked. Mine. Not his, though his eyes glistened. It's not that simple, Jake. Trust's a fragile lens. One crack. I know. He reached for my hand. Tentative. Let me fix it. Date 3 properly, no exes, no agents. Just us. From the jump. I let him hold on, the diner's jukebox crooning Patsy Cline. One date. I relented. Screw it up, and it's over. Our first official. A sunset picnic at Stone Mountain. Basket packed with empanadas from my mom's recipe. Lacrosse stick propped like a picnic prop. He carved our initials in the grass. Not permanent, but promising. Talks flowed. Dreams of him opening a youth camp. Me exhibiting at the High Museum. Kisses under the carving's shadow. Slow and sure. The world vast below us. Spring thawed everything. March Madness brackets filled together. April showers chasing us into dive bars for pool and pitchers. His team embraced it. Slowly, with bro hugs and about-time jabs. Even Dad Harlan warmed. A gruff proud of you. Son over beers. Mom's pecan pie delivered with a wink. But climax loomed, dramatic as a Southern Gothic. May, graduation season redux. My gig at Vanderbilt this time, but Jake tagged along. Moral support. Nashville's heat rivaled Atlanta's. The Parthenon glowing like a beacon. Midway through the procession, chaos. A senior's family, ultra-conservative donors, spotted us holding hands in the crowd. Whispers turned to confrontation. The dad, red-faced in a seersucker suit, cornering Jake by the stage. This perversion? After what your family's given. We'll pull funding. Watch Emory crumble. Jake stood tall, my hand in his vice grip. Sir, love's not a donation. It's earned. But the man spat venom. Slurs that curdled the air, drawing stares. Security intervened, but the damage rippled. Texts from boosters. Jake's phone blowing up with concerned calls. We fled to a honky-tonk on Broadway, neon solace amid the twang. He slammed a Jack and Coke, fury etching lines on his face. They think they own me. The game, the name, everything. I pulled him close, boots shuffling to the band's cover of Wagon Wheel. They don't. You do. We do. But betrayal's shadow lengthened. That night, back in our hotel, a knock. Emily, tear-streaked, envelope in hand. He told me everything, she sobbed. But the agent's leaking stories, twisting it, said you're a phase, Jake. To protect your image. Jake's face drained. The envelope? Forged texts, mine edited to sound obsessive, his dismissive. Sabotage, pure and petty. Why? I demanded, voice shattering. League pressure, she whispered. Homophobic holdouts. They want him closeted, marketable. He crumpled the papers, roaring. A primal sound that echoed off the walls. I'm done. All of it. The fight that followed was our ugliest. Me accusing him of weakness. Him lashing at my easy-out privilege. Words like shrapnel. You chose the jersey over me. You bail when it's hard. Doors slammed. I crashed on the lobby couch, Nashville's lights mocking through the window. Dawn brought clarity or desperation. He found me at 6 a.m., coffee in hand, eyes haunted. I choose you. Every time. No more agents, no pro dreams. Just a press conference booked for noon. Emory's gym, full team flank, announcing his truth. Reporters swarmed. Mics like spears, questions barbed. Jake, is this a publicity stunt? Impact on your career? He gripped the podium, me offstage, camera down. Sportsmanship? It's integrity. Loving fiercely, standing tall. Alex taught me that on the field and off. His voice steadied, quoting coach, play with heart, love in overtime. The room hushed, then applauded, scattered at first, then thunderous. His dad in the front row, nodding through tears. Emily, anonymous donor now, slipping me a card. Fix this world, boys. But victory's bitter edge. Calls poured in, hate mail, death threats from fringes, boosters withdrawing. Jake's phone became a battlefield. We unplugged, retreating to my loft like hermits. You're sure? I asked one night, rain lashing windows, his head on my chest. Surer than that championship goal. His fingers traced my collarbone. Worth every hit. Summer settled like a truce. Atlanta's dog days softening into firefly evenings. We rebuilt slow. Therapy sessions in a sunlit office off Highland Avenue. Jake unpacking the Harlan weight. Me the Rivera scars. Healing's a team sport. Our counselor quipped, and damn if it wasn't true. By July 4th, we hosted the barbecue. His house now ours. Lease co-signed in a haze of hope. Team showed en masse. Grills smoking, kids from the academy splashing in the pool. Jake captained the grill, me the playlist. Springsteen bleeding into Bad Bunny for fusion flair. His dad flipped burgers beside him. Mom and my tia swapping tamale recipes over rows. No tiptoeing. Just family, fractured and fierce. The high came mid-parade. A float from the rec center. Kids in jerseys waving Harlan and Rivera. Champions of heart. Jake hoisted me onto his shoulders. Echo of that graduation day. Crowd cheering as confetti swirled. This, he yelled over the bands, is overtime. But drama's not done. It simmers. August brought the lawsuit, those Vanderbilt donors suing for moral breach on some archaic clause, dragging our names through tabloids. Scandal at the Parthenon, headlines screamed, painting Jake the villain, me the seducer. Hate mail piled. Envelopes with slurs, emails from fans wishing ruin. We lawyered up, pro bono from a queer rights firm in Midtown. Fierce women in power suits who turned the tide. Depositions were hell. Jake reliving slurs, me detailing the sabotage. But cross-exam? Gold. Emily testified, exposing the agent's web, texts, bribes, the works. They feared him free, she said, voice steel. But love like that? Unbreakable. The judge dismissed with prejudice, a gavel crack like vindication. News cycled. Lacrosse star wins battle for authenticity. Offers flooded. Not pro leagues, but podcasts, youth orgs, even a book deal on sports and soul. September marked year 1. Anniversary hike up Kennesaw Mountain, PAX Light with PB and JS and promises. At the summit, city sprawl below like a conquered field. He dropped to one knee. Not ring, but a vintage Nikon strap, engraved, our shot. Marry me, Alex. Not the drama, the everyday. Tears blurred the view. Yes, 1,000 times. Fall brought balance. Him coaching, me exhibiting. Our graduation series at a Grant Park gallery. Moments that matter selling out to tearful buyers. Whispers of family. Adoption talks. Miami visits where mom lit candles for me Yerno. Dad Harlan? Gruff toasts at holidays, but eyes soft with pride. Climax echoed in small waves. A homophobic heckler at a game, drowned by chance. A scout's quiet apology over coffee. But the true peak? Christmas Eve. Our Victorian aglow, tree strung with lacrosse ornaments and photo booth strips. Jake in ugly sweater, me in his jersey, carving ham as snow, rare Atlanta miracle. Dusted the yard. To us, he toasted, glasses clinking. The unscripted win. Humanism wove through. Letters from kids. You made it okay to be me. Piling on the fridge. We volunteered at the center, teaching angles and assists, watching walls crumble. No fairy tale gloss. Scars lingered, therapy Tuesdays, boundary check-ins. But in the quiet, his hand in mine over dishes, or morning runs where breaths synced like heartbeats. It was profound. Love as verb, gritty and grace-filled. One April dawn, 2 years post-grad, I woke to his note. Meet me at the quad. Emery's green, cherry blossoms in full riot. He waited by the podium where it had started. Cap askew. Gown borrowed for laughs. Remember? He grinned, pulling me into frame. Hard to forget. Flash popped, me behind the lens, him eternal. We walked hand in hand, future unfolding. Camp expansions, gallery tours, maybe a pup named Puck. Betrayal's ghost? Faded scar, reminder to choose daily. In America's heartland sprawl, from Miami Keys to Atlanta Oaks, love isn't plot armor. It's the sportsmanship. Showing up bloodied, lifting your partner, playing through the whistle. Jake taught me that, or maybe we taught each other. And in the end, not tragedy, not flawless happy, just human, messy, memorable hours.